They say love makes you blind, but sometimes it's pride that blinds us. And by the time you finally see the truth, it's already too late. This story takes place in a small town called Marion Hills, a quiet place where everyone knows your name and your secrets. Elena Cortez was her father's pride and joy. Smart, obedient, loyal to the family business. Until the day she met Michael, a mechanic with rough hands and kind eyes. The kind of man her father, Antonio Cortez, despised on sight. "You think you're gonna throw your life away for some grease-stained dropout?" he shouted. But Elena stood her ground. "I love him, Dad. He treats me better than anyone ever has." Antonio's voice broke into anger. Love doesn't pay bills. Love doesn't build a future. And that was it. He disowned her, his only daughter. Before we dive in, don't forget to like this video, hit the subscribe button, and tell me in the comments section where you are watching from. Now let's begin. 2 years passed. No calls, no visits, no forgiveness. Antonio buried his guilt under work and whiskey. Until one night, the phone rang. "Mr. Cortez," a woman's voice said. "This is Mercy General Hospital. It's about your daughter." Antonio froze. For a man who thought he had control over everything, he had never felt so powerless. He raced through the rain, headlights cutting through darkness, heart pounding harder with every mile. When he reached the hospital, he found Elena, bruised, unconscious, hooked up to machines. She was found at an abandoned warehouse, the nurse whispered. "She's lucky to be alive." On the nightstand, a bloodied wallet. Inside it, Michael's ID. Detectives searched the warehouse the next morning. Broken glass, tire iron, blood on the floor, but no sign of Michael. Either he ran, Detective Hale said, or someone didn't want him found. Later, investigators found a burner phone hidden in Elena's car trunk. Dozens of messages. "You can't tell him. Meet me tonight. Bring the drive. If he finds out, we're both dead." The number was traced to Michael's name, but the last message was sent after he disappeared. 3 days later, Elena opened her eyes. Her first word wasn't Dad. It was Michael. "Did they find him?" she whispered. "They're still looking," Antonio said softly. "They'll find him." But she just shook her head, tears rolling down her cheeks. "You don't understand. They'll never find him." "Why not?" "Because they took him to get to me." Detectives gathered around her hospital bed as she spoke. Her voice trembled, but her words were clear. She'd found something at her father's construction company. Proof that his business partner, Gordon Reese, was laundering millions through fake contracts and offshore accounts. "I thought Michael could help me expose it," she said. "He used to fix cars, but he knew computers. We were going to leak everything. Emails, bank statements, everything." But that night, someone got to them first. 3 men in black coats burst into their motel room. Michael shoved her into the bathroom and told her to run. She made it to the door before they caught her. "I heard him scream," she whispered. And then nothing. Antonio sat in silence, guilt clawing through his chest. He realized the danger she'd been in wasn't random. It started with him. That night, he called Gordon Reese. "Gordon, what did you do?" Reese's voice was cold. "You should have stayed quiet, Tony. This isn't about your little girl anymore. It's about survival." The line went dead. An hour later, Antonio's house was broken into. His office computer, gone. The next morning, a nurse found a note under Elena's pillow. "If anything happens, it's in the music box." Detectives went to her apartment. Inside a pink jewelry box, taped under the lid, they found a USB drive, invoices, offshore transfers, and one video file dated the night Michael vanished. The footage was grainy. A dark room, 3 men, one tied to a chair, blood on the floor. A shadow moves in front of the camera. A voice says, calm and cold, "She shouldn't have looked where she wasn't supposed to." Then a hand reached toward the camera, and the screen went black. Detective Hale froze the frame, enhanced the light, and in the flickering image, a face appeared. Antonio's. But Antonio swore he hadn't been there. He hadn't left his home that night. So if it wasn't him, then who was it? The detectives ran the footage through facial analysis. The results came back hours later, and what they found changed everything. Because someone had been using Antonio Cortez's identity for months. Bank accounts, company records, phone lines, a perfect copy of his life, operating in the shadows. And the last account logged in using his name was tied to Gordon Reese's offshore server. Antonio's world began to collapse. He realized his daughter hadn't betrayed him. She'd been trying to save him. But the truth? It was much worse than either of them could imagine. Because when the detectives tried to access the drive again that night, it was wiped. Every file, every image, gone. Except for one new message. A video file uploaded to the same folder. It showed a figure standing in a dimly lit garage, face hidden by shadows. He lifted his head slowly, and the voice was unmistakable. "Michaels, tell Antonio," he said. "This isn't over. He needs to finish what he started." The detectives looked at each other. The timestamp on the video was from 2 hours ago. Michael was alive, and somewhere, he was sending a message. But was he warning them, or setting them up? Because what came next would reveal the truth about who Antonio really was, and why Michael had risked everything to uncover it. They thought the nightmare was over. They thought finding the drive would bring answers. But what they found instead was a message from the dead. Michael's voice, calm, steady, and haunting, echoed through the dimly lit room. "Tell Antonio, this isn't over. He needs to finish what he started." The timestamp said 2 hours ago, but Michael had been missing for nearly a week. Detective Hale stared at the screen. Where was this uploaded from? The tech analyst replied quietly. An IP trace leads to an old construction site outside of town, one owned by Cortez and Reese Development. Antonio felt the blood drain from his face. That site had been abandoned for months. At least, that's what he thought. They drove out there just before dawn. The fog hung thick over the dirt road. The structure ahead, half-built walls, exposed steel. The skeleton of a project that had been on hold since the financial audits began. Antonio got out first. Every step echoed. Every shadow felt alive. Detective Hale raised his flashlight, beams slicing through the mist, revealing deep tire tracks leading around the back of the site. They followed the tracks to a locked storage shed. Fresh padlock, fresh paint, too new for a forgotten building. Hale motioned to his partner. They cut the lock, and inside, stacks of hard drives, old computers, dozens of manila folders with stamped logos, Cortez and Reese Holdings, and on a dusty desk, a photograph. Antonio froze. It was of him, smiling, shaking hands with someone. But the man in the photo wasn't Gordon Reese. It was himself, or someone who looked exactly like him. For a moment, no one spoke. The resemblance was uncanny. Same eyes, same lines, same watch. Only one difference. The man in the photo had a scar running down his cheek. "Who the hell is that?" Hale muttered. Antonio couldn't answer. His throat tightened. He remembered his brother, Mateo, the one who died in a fire 30 years ago. Or at least, that's what the police had said. But standing there, staring at that photo, Antonio began to doubt everything he'd been told. A new message came through on Hale's phone. No caller ID, no text, just a video. He played it. Grainy footage again. A warehouse. Interior. The camera panned slowly. And there he was, Michael, bruised, alive, whispering directly into the lens. They're watching. They've been watching for years. "Antonio, if you see this, he's not who you think he is." Behind him, a door creaks open. Michael turns, and a figure steps into the light. A face identical to Antonio's. Detective Hale's voice shook. "Antonio, what are we looking at?" Antonio's hands trembled as he spoke. "My brother, Mateo. He died in a factory fire when we were kids. There's no way he could be alive." Hale replied quietly. "Then who's been running your company under your name?" Antonio didn't answer, because in that moment, his phone buzzed. Unknown number. A text message. "You should have stayed quiet, brother." Antonio's eyes widened. He looked around and noticed a small red light blinking near one of the support beams. A hidden camera, recording them, live. Hale shouted, "We need to move, now." They ran outside, but the fog had thickened. Visibility near zero. Somewhere in the distance, an engine revved. Then a car door slammed. Antonio turned toward the sound and saw headlights flicker on through the mist. A black SUV idled at the far end of the lot, the same type Reese's operatives used. Before Hale could react, the vehicle peeled off into the darkness, leaving behind a cloud of smoke and one final clue. A cell phone, lying face up in the mud. Antonio picked it up. The screen was cracked. One video file. He pressed play. It was security footage, dated 3 days ago. Inside a hospital room. Elena's hospital room. Someone in scrubs was injecting something into her forebag. The timestamp matched the night she'd started hallucinating, when she'd said she saw Michael standing by her bed. But when the man in scrubs turned toward the camera, Antonio's heart stopped. It was Mateo, older but unmistakable, and on his wrist, Antonio's old company ID. Antonio dropped the phone. Hale grabbed it, trying to steady him. "Antonio, what is this? What's happening?" Antonio whispered, voice cracking. "He's not just alive. He's taking everything I ever built." Then the phone buzzed again. Same unknown number. New message. "You have 24 hours to bring the drive, or you'll lose her too." Elena was still at Mercy General, alone, under guard. But now Antonio realized the danger wasn't outside the hospital. It was already inside. He grabbed Hale's shoulder. "We have to get to her. Now." They raced back toward the car, tires spinning on wet gravel. Sirens in the distance. Storm closing in. But as they turned onto the main road, Hale's radio crackled. "All units, code 10 to 33 at Mercy General. Repeat, officer down. Suspect impersonating medical staff. Possible hostage situation in ICU." Antonio's blood went cold. Jesus Christ, that's her. He slammed his foot on the gas. Rain poured harder. Lightning flashed. For a split second, in the flash of light, Antonio swore he saw a figure standing on the overpass above. A man in a dark coat, face hidden beneath a hood, watching them drive away. And just as the lightning faded, he turned, revealing the faint outline of a scar across his cheek. In the storm's reflection, one truth became clear. The past Antonio thought was buried had come back wearing his face. And before sunrise, it would demand payment in full. The story continues in the next video.